Ladies and gentlemen, sports fans alike, welcome to another edition of Bill Swerski, Sports Talk Chicago, one of the couple, two, three best podcasts around. So sit back, grab yourself a cold one and a Polish sausage, park your keister in the French room, and listen to Bill Swerski, Sports Talk Chicago.
In Chicago, you know that all sports rock. The Bears, Hawks, Bulls, Cubs, and Sox. Pick your favorite, you can choose. As long as the Packers lose. For everything you need to know, it's Bill Swerski, Sports Talk Chicago. Bill Swerski, Sports Talk Chicago.
Earmuffs, everybody. Fuck the Eagles. That's how I feel. How about you, Alex?
Empty.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. I honest to God thought that we would be celebrating a victory and talking about how we were going to beat the Rams, and this was going to be a Super Bowl season. I just felt it in my bones.
Well, I felt that we were at least going to win a home game. I thought that this team was at least good enough to make the NFC Championship. Now, I wasn't so sure if they could potentially beat the Saints on the road, but I thought they'd at least win this first game.
It really, really hurts. So any of you guys that listen out there that are just miserable today, we're right there with you. I am just wallowing today. I came into work and my boss, first thing in the morning, was like, I honestly didn't think you would be here today. I figured you would be drunk.
Yeah, everyone at the office was talking about it today for me too. I had trouble sleeping last night, I'll be completely honest. Driving to work, that's all I could think about. I took my lunch break today at Woodfield Mall, walked around. That's all I could think about. On my drive home today, I tried to just get my mind off it. I put some music on and I was thinking about restaurant reviews in my head just to think about anything. But, in the end of the day, it all comes around to this game. And, your mind constantly goes back to what could have been. You imagine the Bears getting the stop on fourth down, I should say. You imagine Cody Parkey's kick not being partially blocked and going right through and winning the game. You imagine that Adrian Amos penalty not happening and getting a stop on that drive. You always imagine what could have been, and you realize what it is not. And then you realize that there is no next week. There is no tomorrow. The season is over, and we have months and months and months to think about what could have been.
Yeah, usually around this time of year, we've already just come to the conclusion, we're not making the playoffs. We're probably in third or fourth place in the division. And it's debating who we're going to take with our top 10 draft pick. And we are already cemented into that mode. Or who's going to be our next head coach? Who are we interviewing? But that wasn't the case this year. We won the division. We won the right to have a first round game at home. We were facing a team that we're better than, and just didn't work out. And now, thinking about anything, you're like, all right, well, we don't have a first round draft pick. All right, well, we already got our coach. Hang on, what do we do? What do we do with ourselves now? I have no interest in watching the playoffs anymore.
No, I don't either. I can't. I can't bring myself to doing it. I'll watch the Super Bowl because I always watch the Super Bowl. I'll never miss the Super Bowl. But, this coming week of football, I have zero interest in it, and I'm going to find something else to do at the weekend because I can't think about it. The only thing I will do is check the scores, and, I'm hoping that the Saints are the team, honestly, I'd like to see them win it all. I know a lot of people don't really care about other teams right now. And, at the end of the day, since the Bears aren't in it, my emotional investment is just gone. But, I'll check some scores until the Super Bowl, but I just don't think I could get back into football this fast.
Yeah. I mean, I'm totally gonna root for the Saints to crush the Eagles,
Me too.
and then I'm gonna root for. I don't know. I think maybe the Chiefs. I like Andy Reid.
Yeah,
I mean,
I
I
like
like
the
what-
Chargers, kind of.
I kind of like the Chargers. I'd be okay with the Colts winning. I like that team
Sure.
they've built.
I like Andrew Luck.
Yeah. So, but I nobody from the NFC. I have a good friend who's a diehard Dallas Cowboys fan. So for his sake, I guess maybe NFC, the Cowboys. But
No,
I-
thank you.
I just can't. I can't root for anybody really in the NFC. So I'm gonna root for the AFC this year.
That's fair. I love Drew Brees, so that's why I'd root for him. But, either way, what matters is that the Bears will not be there next week or the week after. And look, this game hurts so bad because of how it went down. And I'm one of those people, and you can say this is backwards, it probably is, but if I'm going to lose a big playoff game, I'd rather get my brains beat in than have my heart ripped out like that. I don't know about you, but that's just the way I see it. I'd rather lose 33-10 than lose like that.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody listens to the show knows I lived in Philadelphia for about a decade, and I already people that I haven't talked to in like 10 years that I'm still Facebook friends with are just like, oh, hey, I haven't talked to you in 10 years. Let me immediately start rubbing your nose in it. So I was just like, delete, 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 delete,
Good.
delete. It just, it's one thing if like you're my good friend and once the wound has healed, a little bit of good natured ribbing, fine. Before the game, a little back and forth, all good. But immediately when I've just had my heart ripped out, you're going to try to rub my nose in it when like we're not like super boys. No bueno. That's
Yeah,
just being
no.
a turd. That's just being an Eagles fan. That's what they do.
Yeah,
I don't think they like sports because they like sports. I think they just like sports so they can just shit talk.
Well, it's not going to get any better, unfortunately, after the way that went down. I mean, I'm looking on the internet right now, and there's people selling double doink things, and it's when you're the fan of this, it hurts so bad. And everybody knows that. I would assume everybody listening to this knows by now that the NFL has ruled it a blocked field goal because he did get a hand on it. It's whoever's fault it is for losing. It just right now it doesn't matter that much. The fact of the matter is they lost in heartbreaking fashion, and it hurts no matter what. Whether Parkey flat out missed, whether Parkey had his kick partially kicked, it hurts like hell. And look, I'm going to be that guy and say this was probably the worst Chicago sports loss in terms of heartbreak of this decade. I think this takes the cake.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of something else that hurt this bad. And
Game 7 against LA is the biggest comparison I have, but at least the Hawks redeemed themselves the next year.
I mean, yeah, that one hurt, but we had already had tasted success and we were in the middle of a great run, and it was against another team that was just like, it was two dynasties that were butting into each other. So at least I'm like, all right, we lost to a really good team and we've had success before and after. You can swallow it. I mean, that Super Bowl loss hurt, but honestly,
I'm just talking 2010s, 2010 to now.
2010. Oh yeah, this is it. This is it. Yeah.
Yeah. Now, I think this might be the most heartbreaking Chicago sports loss since 2003, the Game 6 against the Marlins.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, that That one is a bad. That was a doozy. This is a doozy.
But it's better now because we've won the World Series. You don't feel that pain anymore. This is all fresh and real, and until the Bears make a Super Bowl run, this is going to sting. It's not going to go away.
You're too young to remember this because you weren't born. But when the Blackhawks got swept in the Stanley Cup by the Penguins, I cried. That hurt.
That was 2 years before my time. Yeah.
Yeah, and the '84 Cubs, that hurt.
Yeah.
That one hurt a lot. That was like, I guess that was my first taste of heartache of being a Chicago sports fan, because I was about like 7-8 years old, and I was so excited because they were good, and then just the wheels came off there, and that one hurt. But when it's a series and they lose, there's ups and downs, and you have success. Usually, like the game 7, you won 3 games out of 7. You had success, you had excitement, you had good things, and ultimately you lose. But with the NFL, it's one and done. Yeah, there's no redemption. There's no, we'll go get them next time. It's when you're done. It's just the finality. And this was just painful.
What I kept saying to myself yesterday was, this magical season can't end like this. I mean, right now, that season was the most fun that I've had as a Bears fan probably ever. In 2006, I was in middle school, and yeah, I liked the Bears and everything, but I wasn't as emotionally invested as I have been since like high school, because I was in like 7th grade when they made the Super Bowl, and like with the Bartman game, I was only in 4th grade, so it didn't as emotionally affect me as much. So that's not Bears related. I'm just talking in terms of heartbreak, but in terms of just watching the Bears, this was by far the most fun I've ever had watching this Bears season. And, it felt like nothing could get in their way. And then all of this just ends like that. Right now, it feels like that whole season that we loved so near and dear it's now just going to be the season that ended in double doink. That's what this season is. It all ended with that.
And it just is like a constant. It's not like, oh, we lost and then it was over. We lost and then we were the total butt of jokes and memes. The Ravens had a quarterback that had like a 10 rating going into the 4th quarter.
Yeah.
And couldn't complete a pass that was over 3 yards.
Yeah.
No memes, no laughing. He's got a bright future in front of him. We have a kicker miss a kick, and there's 800 different memes.
Yep.
It just, man.
And it's not going to stop for a while.
I just hope Philadelphia gets blown out by 90 points, and then it'll stop a little bit, because then they'll just be Philly memes or Eagles memes.
Yeah, well, we'll see. Now, like I said earlier, to me it's better to get blown out by a really superior team and then lose in heartbreak. I mean, let's say they made the NFC Championship this year, they played in the Dome, and Drew Brees just had their way with them. I would be looking back at this season and saying, you know what, we did good. And you know what, they did do good this season. I'm not going to take anything away from their regular season. It just hurts so much more that it ends in this kind of fashion. And look, time will heal wounds. I know the positive perspective is that this team has a bright future. People compare it to the 2015 Cubs, 2009 Blackhawks. The one thing I will say, and I'm not trying to be overly pessimistic about the future because I think we have a good thing going here, but I also want to reinforce that this is the NFL. And success isn't always as linear. Look at the Vikings and the Jaguars last year. They were predicted to meet in the Super Bowl this year. None of them made the playoffs. You can go up and down in an NFL season. One of the reasons is being health. The Bears were pretty lucky this year overall. They were pretty healthy overall. But, is that going to happen next year? Few injuries can completely derail a season. So yes, I am confident that this group will continue to have success if all goes right. But nothing is guaranteed. And that's why every single season of NFL football is sacred. You don't want to use a successful year as a building year. If you get in the playoffs, your mentality is Super Bowl or nothing. And I know that sounds a little harsh, and I don't want to sound too harsh there, but, do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, absolutely. Is the NBA, it's this is your year before you're going to be a contender. Baseball the same way, and you're
Hockey,
right, very
the same
linear.
way.
I guess yes, you're right. Absolutely, the NFL is not like that. It is not like that at all. It is the only league where you can go from legitimate basement dweller to division winner, and within the one season.
And then you can fall right
so
down
much
again.
parity. Yeah, because there's so much parity in baseball. There's no salary cap, so you have big market teams can keep just throwing money at problems, and
You have a farm system.
So it's you can maintain being good and just maintain that success. Hockey, there's the top teams are good, and they're just going to stay good until they get salary cap killed or injuries. But for the most part, the same teams are going to be good for a couple of years. NBA is whoever has the best star wins.
Yep.
But the NFL is not like that. The NFL there's so much parity that it really is any given week is, the Browns went from the absolute laughing stock of the league for a decade, started off in the beginning of the season like a joke, and then the second half of the season, in the middle of the season, they just started playing better and became a team that was beating people. And if they played the whole season like that, would have made the playoffs.
Absolutely. And I mean, look, there are teams that maintain success. You have the Patriots, but you also have one of the best coaches in history and the best quarterback in history. You've had the Steelers, who have had Ben Roethlisberger and the Steel Curtain for many years. You have a few teams that can maintain success year after year, but you look around and you see teams just go up and down and up and down and up and down. I mean, like I said, everyone predicted the Vikings to run away with the division this year. Well, maybe not run away, but most people had them winning the division or at least making the playoffs, and they didn't make it. And like I said with the Jaguars, the same thing. I mean, look at the Cardinals a few years ago were a powerhouse, and now they're at the bottom of the barrel. Things change really fast. And again, I'm not saying the Bears are going to go back to last place. I think that they're still the team to beat in the division, and I think that they'll very likely be in a playoff race next year. But are you going to have that same luck with injuries again? Chances are you're probably going to have to deal with a few more nagging injuries. That's just the way the NFL is. The Vikings are going to come back, and I think they're still a legitimate squad that could make the playoffs. The Packers are going to have a whole new coaching scheme. They're going to get better in the draft. They're going to have Aaron Rodgers probably fully healthy, I would imagine. So, yeah, the Bears would probably still be my pick to win the division next year. Yeah, I feel pretty good about the players we have, but so much can happen. A lot can happen, and just a few plays, a few injuries can change the course of an entire season. And this was probably the easiest path that this Bears team will have to a division title. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's kind of how it feels like right now.
Yeah, because looking at their schedule for next year, it looks a lot tougher. They're playing a first place schedule. If you're not aware that So in the NFL, you play everybody in your division twice, one home, one away. You play one AFC division, the entire division. You play one NFC division, the entire division, and then the rest of your games are the um, the the teams that are in your same position for the other NFC divisions. So if you're last place, you play the other last place teams. And the Bears were last place last year, so they played what's called the last place schedule. This year, they're first place, so they'll have to play the first place teams, and that's part of how you get parity, because the easy team or the bad teams get a bad schedule, the good teams get a good schedule.
For sure. And look, I'm sure months down the road, we're going to be looking at the Bears 2019 season with a more optimistic eye, more analytical. And, that time will come. But, I know a lot of people are trying to console themselves with the future is bright, and that's fine. I won't blame you for that at all. I respect that, but I can't do that right now. I can't be the future is bright right now. I was able to do it with the Cubs in 2015 because they made a playoff run and they just ran into the hottest team in the National League the past 2 months. I got past that. The Blackhawks in 2009, they went on a very unpredicted playoff run. They ran into the Red Wings, who still at the time were the cream of the crop in the league. I understood that. It's just the way they lost one and done to this team at home. It makes looking at the future optimistically a lot harder right now. And you know what? Part of that is probably just me grieving. So again, let time heal wounds before we really dive into 2019. Just for me personally right now is not the time to console me with the future is bright. I'm not in the mood for that.
Yeah, so the Bears automatically for next year, we're going to play the Packers twice, Vikings twice, Lions twice. They were going to play the NFC East, so the Cowboys, Eagles, Giants, Redskins, and the AFC West, the Chiefs, the Chargers, the Raiders, and the Broncos.
Good Lord.
The last two. The good news is that the Lions, the Vikings, and the Packers have to play those same teams. The difference in schedule then comes with the Bears have to play the Saints and the Rams.
Yeah, that's going to be tough.
Yeah, that's the part that's going to be tough. I mean, the hope is, does Drew Brees come back next year? And what do the Rams look like, because they are in a tough salary cap position, so they might have to shed some money. So fingers crossed that they're not as good. But yeah, it's a tough schedule. It's a really tough schedule, and that's the life of being an NFL team, is you have to prepare. And I mean, it's looking a lot like Vic Fangio will be back, because he only had one job interview, and that was the Broncos. And from what I'm hearing is he's not the favorite to get that position. So looks like Fangio will be back. But offensively is where the Bears are going to have to take a big step forward next year.
Yeah, and you know what? I think they got the talented group, and they're going to add more in the draft, even though they don't have first-round picks. But again, it's not always as promised in the NFL. A lot of things can happen.
Yeah, I mean, anything can happen. Look at the year Tom Brady got hurt, and it's to change the complete trajectory of the New England Patriots. So the Eagles, who knows what they're going to look like, because they're going to lose Nick Foles and Carson Wentz. That team looked terrible under Carson Wentz this year.
And he can't stay healthy either, unfortunately. So it'll depend if he's even healthy.
Yeah. So it's just there's a lot to take in and a lot to look at. But do you want to talk about the game a little bit?
I guess.
Yeah, I don't want to dig in too deep. I just want to talk some of the things that were frustrating and some of the things that were positive takeaways. For me, one of the frustrating parts was right off the bat is, we deferred. We won the coin toss, deferred, which, you fully expect them to do. Get the defense out there. You hope that they make a big stop and set up the offense. But the Eagles got a big screen pass, which was something I was really worried about, that the Eagles would take advantage of the Bears pass rush with screens.
Yeah.
And they got them for a big one.
Yep.
Ended up marching down the field, getting a field goal. The defense stood tall at the end, but they gave up a field goal, and that just sort of set the tone that the Eagles can score on the Bears. And that was something I didn't want to see on that opening drive.
Yeah, no, I agree with you there. I was kind of concerned about the same thing. They all put up the stats that, Nick Foles gets off the ball quicker than anyone and the screen pass and yada, yada. They did a good job of shutting down the run, but it was really the screen passes and just those slant routes towards the edge where guys were wide open throughout the game. That was just kind of infuriating.
Or when they only put 10 guys on defense on a goal line stand.
That too. I thought it was frustrating that there were so many bad balls by Foles when he was hit that weren't intercepted. We got 2 interceptions, but you know what I'm talking about.
They were lame ducks floating up there, and you're like, how are those getting caught by the Eagles and not intercepted? Like, they're just these lame ducks that are tossed up there.
And you darn well know Eddie Jackson would have gotten a few of those, who did not play in a single snap in that game, so clearly he wasn't ready to go health-wise.
I didn't think he would be, because he didn't practice on Wednesday. Typically, when you don't practice at all on Wednesday, you're a no-go, and I'm imagining he was just there to keep the Eagles guessing in case of emergency. But honestly, it wasn't. I don't think he would have been what changed the game. This game, there's one big play that ultimately swung this game, but there's a whole host of things that went into the reason we were in that position in the first place.
Yeah,
the 800-pound or the 800-pound elephant in the room is Cody Parkey missed the kick that would have won the game in a 43-yard field goal. And I want to address a few things about that first. One, there's a lot of non-Bears fans that are throwing the meme out. How are you going to be mad at the guy who had more points than your offense when he misses a kick? And then there's you can't make 43-yard kicks, so don't act like it's easy. And to address that is, this guy's only job is to kick the ball. He gets paid $3+ million a year to kick field goals. His only job. So my job isn't to kick field goals. I don't make $3 million. If my job was to kick field goals and I couldn't kick a 43-yard field goal, then you should laugh and make fun of me. And the other thing is, it's the Bears offense got him in the position to make those field goals, and he needs to make them. You look at the Panthers. They asked their kicker to make a 60-yard field goal, and he did. 60 yards. Our quarterback, our kicker, we asked him to make a 43-yarder, and he couldn't. And I know somebody got a hand on it slightly, but I don't know if you follow former Vikings punter Chris Cluey on Twitter, but he pointed out that based on the way Cody Parkey planted before the kick, that he knew it was going to be pushed left based on where he planted, because it was a bad plant. And I mean, it wasn't a good kick to begin with. The kick was low. The kick was he overcompensated for a minimal wind, didn't have a good plant, and the guy got a finger on it. Whoop-de-doo. It didn't change the distance or anything, and it went kerplunk. And it's frustrating. And so, yeah, ultimately, this loss, you hang it on Cody Parkey, but because he missed the play that would have won the game. But then you start putting things together, saying, all right, well, why were the Bears in the position that they needed to kick a 43-yard field goal to win the game? What were the factors that went into that? And that's the parts where everybody starts needing to look in the mirror and reevaluate what they did or could have done better.
Look, I think that, the first thing I'm going to say is I'm just going to get this out of the way. I know we're all frustrated with how it ended. I know there's a lot of, just anger, and I get it. But please, please, do not send death threats to Cody Parkey. Do not threaten him in any way.
Thank you. I don't know why that needs to be
either.
said to adults. Is don't threaten to kill somebody or hoping his family dies. Like I don't want to say it's just a game because I'm sitting here wallowing in misery, but he's a human being first and foremost. You don't think that he's absolutely devastated by this? You don't think that he's hurt? Do you think he's just like, la-da-da-da-da, I missed a kick, let me go on with my life? That guy is probably just beating himself up. And
this is going to affect him the rest of his life. Unless he has like a Super Bowl winning kick, it's probably going to affect him the rest of his life.
Yeah. I mean, look at Ray Finkel.
Yeah. A lot of people brought his name up too. And a lot of people, there's like, oh, Steve Bartman. Stop with that crap. Just stop with that.
Yeah, so you can be frustrated at Cody Parkey. You can be mad at Cody Parkey.
Heck, you can say you want a new kicker.
You can demand, you could picket outside of Hallis Hall that you want him fired. Those are all within the realm of reason. But when you wish harm on him or his family, like that's when you're going ridiculous. Because ultimately, if the Bears can't win a game at home where they're favored by almost a touchdown, then they weren't going to win the Super Bowl anyway. This is just, it's just something you want to, a fact you got to face. This was a real tough road to get to the Super Bowl. And it's been the better part of a decade since a team even won a road game to go to win the Super Bowl or to go to the Super Bowl. So this is just it just sucks. It's just a sucky game. We all feel bad. Just tone it down. Grab yourself a stiff drink and it'll get better. Don't put the bad juju on yourself by wishing somebody to die over a game.
Yeah, there's no reason for that. His well-being shouldn't be affected by this. But that's all I'm going to say about that. Just remember, he doesn't deserve to have awful things wished upon him.
Yeah, I mean, if you want to wish an awful thing on him, be like, oh man, I heard bird poops on your car and it starts to rust. All right, there you go, weirdo. Take that. But yeah, death, dismemberment, his family, being hurt. Those are things we leave for soccer fans. Let's be NFL fans. We don't do that unless you're from Philadelphia. Then you expect that kind of stuff.
So that's the only thing I'm going to say about that. Thought it needed to be said.
It's shocking that it did need to be said, though.
Yeah, I thought we learned our lesson after the Steve Bartman thing, and the fact that it's even being compared to that is just no.
Yeah, I mean, go back and watch that. Was it the 30 for 30 about Bartman? and
Yeah.
just feel bad for how fellow fans acted. And granted, it's a minority of fans, but it was enough to be noisy. And that's, if you can go back and watch that Bartman documentary and just not have your heart bleed for that poor guy, then you're a sad person. Like, I get you can still be frustrated, but at the whole situation, but if you don't feel bad for Steve Bartman as a person and what he had to go through, then you're really cold. And it's going to be the same thing with Cody Parkey. There's this poor guy. I can't see a way that he comes back to the Bears. Not even just his kicking issue, but for his own good. Is it a good situation for him to even come back to this team?
Yeah, I don't know. That's it may be best just to mutually part ways. But what I can at least say is I think, based on what I've seen from Twitter recently in the past few hours, is people seem to be coming to their senses regarding Parkey. People are still upset. People are still disappointed, and we're all going to be disappointed for a while. But I think at least the awful things being said about Parkey is starting to kind of cool down already. Because I think people are coming, not everybody obviously, but I think some people are starting to come to their senses. I really do.
Yeah, and my whole statement about him not coming back to Chicago is nothing like, oh, I hate his guts and don't want him back. If he comes back, I'll understand. But just the psychology of it all is,
Sure.
how do you have this bad of a season and then the season culminates into that kick and psychologically you come back? Like, this just can't be a good situation for that guy. It's going to be like post-traumatic stress disorder coming to Soldier Field every time. It's not even on the
I would have a hard time if I were him. I really would.
Yeah, I mean, maybe as a professional kicker, you just, like what they say about cornerbacks is you have to have a short memory and be able to have amnesia about what happened in the last play and start over. Maybe that's like what a kicker goes through, is you missed a kick and you put it behind you and move on. But I don't think I could do it. I think it would just never leave. I just hope for his sake that, for the Bears and for him, I hope whatever happens next benefits both parties.
Me too.
What else about this game? I was really frustrated with how sparingly they used Jordan Howard.
Thank you.
The guy.
Why was Mizell even getting touches in this game?
Yeah, that was going to be my next point of it.
And where the hell was Tariq Cohen?
Like,
I'm sorry, I am pissed off at that.
It's really frustrating, and and I get it. Part of it is going to be, we knew we would have to deal with growing pains with Matt Nagy as a head coach / play caller. And this was the growingest of growing pains.
Look, I like Nagy, but I thought the play calling in this game was unacceptable.
Absolutely. And I feel like with the running game is Jordan Howard had some really nice runs, some 7, 8, 9 yard runs, and against a really good run defense. But the minute he got no gains or a -1, -2, you could just sense Matt Nagy getting really antsy about continuing the run, because he didn't want to have his quarterback have to drop back on a 3rd and long. And with that Eagles pass rush, that was actually
Nagy was coaching scared. If you ask me, he was coaching scared.
Yes, that's what I was getting to. He was coaching scared. And that's a huge part about why the Bears lost. He was coaching scared, and he needed to be more aggressive. I posted about it on Twitter that if you watch, the Eagles were being so aggressive with their cornerbacks, and their cornerbacks are not good because they're on like their third string cornerbacks, but they were being so aggressive. They were jumping routes. They were being physical. And I was like, you need to make these guys pay with double moves. Make them pay for jumping routes. And they didn't until the fourth quarter. And then in the fourth quarter, you saw that their cornerbacks could not cover Allen Robinson. They could not cover him at all. He was beating them bad. And if you establish that in the first quarter, this isn't a close game. You win this one running away.
Just so much of the play calling was so conservative and so predictable. All those screen passes that went nowhere, it was mind-numbing. And how many times on first down did we either gain nothing or lose yards? It felt like almost every new set of downs.
Yeah, and then you had third down plays with that. You have Taquan Mizell in there, and everybody is screaming, why is Mizell in there?
I don't get it.
Yeah, I don't get it. He's not the best pass blocking of your running backs. He's not the best. He's not the fastest of your running backs. He's not the best pass catcher, and he's not the best runner. He's not the best at any single thing. So why is he in there?
I don't know. I really don't get it. I don't get it at all. And look, I think if we're going to just stick on the topic of coaching, I think we could all talk about the play clock management at the end was not great. Yeah, I that's all I got to say about that.
Yeah, so it was really frustrating, and Matt Nagy has a lot of blame to take on this, and I really hope, and I think he will, that he's going to sit down and he's going to rewatch every single game, every single call he made, and learn from it. He's going to learn from it, and that he needs to be bold and aggressive and coach to win, and he didn't do that. He was trying to coach not to lose, and he was coaching scared, and you saw that.
You know who did that? John Fox. You know who lost games like that? John Fox.
And I really think, though, that Matt Nagy has the ability to not do that, but I think at least I really expected him to have his ups and downs this year as a head coach and a play caller. And I want to say Bill Polian, maybe it was Bill Polian that said that the Bears got the right coach a year early. And that by year 2, you're really going to see Matt Nagy be a great head coach. And we've seen some really good things from Matt Nagy, and we've seen some bad things. But overall, this has been a fantastic ride, and you got to put that square on the back of Matt Nagy. For the most part, this is the same team he had that they had last year, the same defensive coaches, and you brought in some wide receivers and one outside linebacker, and it just blossomed into from a bottom feeder team to a team that hosted a playoff game.
Yeah. So you just hope that stuff gets better. It was frustrating. It was very frustrating.
What else with this? You wonder if that foot injury that Mitch Trubisky had, if that hindered some of the things that he could do on the offense. Part of it was the Eagles spied him with a linebacker, and that took away a lot of the lanes that he would normally take off and run. He's a very fast guy and he's very athletic, but he doesn't have 4.3 speed where he's going to beat you around the edge. Is that spy is going to take away the angle and the open lane and make him really earn those running yards. And with him getting that foot injury, he just didn't take those opportunities like he has like he did against the Vikings and did against the Packers to help move the chains.
Right. Now, here's the thing with Trubisky. Did he struggle in the first half? Oh, yeah, he did. And there were some balls that should have been picked off. There was a lot that didn't go right with him, but I would be damned if I didn't give that kid so much credit for what he did in the fourth quarter, because in the fourth quarter, he balled out and he gave his team a chance to win. I thought that fourth quarter was one of the best quarters I've ever watched from Trubisky, considering the pressure that he was under.
The fourth quarter of that game was the best quarter out of any quarterback in the first round of the playoffs.
Yeah.
And if you look at his stats, is at halftime, Mitch Trubisky had a 68.2 quarterback rating. And in the second half, he had 114.2.
Yeah.
And
tale of two halves.
You really have to like the promise that Mitch Trubisky has. And it's funny because you have all these comparisons with him and Patrick Mahomes and Deshaun Watson. And Deshaun Watson had a miserable game, an absolutely miserable game in their playoff loss. And nobody beat him up. Not a soul beat him up. Mitch Trubisky, they beat up because he had a bad half, but he had an amazing half, and they're still beating him up. So I just don't understand why the hatred for Mitch Trubisky. Is it because he wasn't the golden boy coming out of college, that he was the surprise pick? I mean, none of the quarterbacks that were taken that year were expected to be top 5 guys, really. I think most people figured Watson was going to be the top guy, but he was like a 5 to 10 pick. And then it was who was going to be next between Mahomes and Trubisky, and they were going to be mid first round guys. And all three have very bright futures. And I mean, Mahomes has been absolutely fantastic, but I just wonder if it's because Trubisky didn't have gaudy college numbers and he didn't have a Heisman Trophy behind his name, and that he went against what everybody wanted to pick, so now they're naturally against him. I just don't understand where the hatred of Mitch Trubisky comes in. Is it because he loves titties?
Pat Mahomes.
Is it because he loves titties?
I don't know. You know, I part of me wants to see what if Pat Mahomes looks like an absolute dog against the Colts this coming week. What are people going to say? They're going to make every possible excuse for him.
Yeah, Lamar Jackson was the next coming. Oh my God, this guy! Look what he's doing with his team. The guy couldn't throw a pass to save his life. He couldn't throw a pass. If he couldn't run, they weren't doing anything. And he had a miserable game, an absolutely miserable game, where to the point where people, not just fans, but media and people with blue check marks next to their Twitter were actively demanding Joe Flacco be put back in the game.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's how bad it was. But people are still going to hate on Mitch Trubisky. And that I read somewhere a guy like who's a writer for NFL was saying how even though Mitch Trubisky had much better numbers his second year, that it's cemented that he's going to be a bust quarterback, because like, I'm just like, what are you smoking? Why, where does hatred? That's just like blind hatred.
Yeah. That's silly. That's silly.
If you can't see the things, there's definitely things that Mitch Trubisky needs to get better.
Of course.
But the guy, if you can't watch that fourth quarter and say that guy can flat out ball, like, then I don't know how to help you, because this guy is the franchise quarterback we have always wanted. And right now, I'm just going to say this, is He's the best quarterback the Bears have had in my entire lifetime. And I'm 41.
Yeah. Long, sad history of Bears quarterbacks.
Yeah, I mean, Jim McMahon had promise, but then got injured. You had Eric Kramer, who was a flash in the pan. Jay Cutler was smoke and mirrors. Mitch Trubisky is the best quarterback that this team has had in my lifetime. And he's in his first year of a new system, and he's only going to get better.
Yeah. I'm really excited about what he can do. Apparently, somebody in the Alabama-Clemson game just hit the uprights on a kick.
Maybe the memes start turning on him.
Oh, boy. Here come the tweets.
What else? Defensive-wise, I just felt that they didn't get enough pressure on Nick Foles to make him uncomfortable. I felt like they probably should have blitzed a little more. He didn't play a great game, but he made enough throws. They were aided by some big penalties that
one
costly
drive
by
in
the Bears.
particular.
Yeah, the Amos one where it would have been 3 and out when they would have got good field position, and he made a boneheaded play of hitting the defenseless receiver. It was completely unnecessary. It's not like that's what made the guy drop the catch. It was, that was a big turning point in the game. The pass that Anthony Miller that he didn't catch, that was a fumble, but the referees totally blew it.
That was just weird.
How are the Bears involved with the 2 worst officiated plays in the NFL season? Both of them.
I don't know. Hopefully we just get that out of the way this year, and it won't happen next year.
And I'm not going to, unlike the one game where the officiating was so bad and we were throwing a temper tantrum, the officiating in this game wasn't good, but it wasn't biased either.
I thought it was a lot better than a few games of the past, so.
But it still wasn't good. And that was a blown play on that. And who knows, I was frustrated, but honestly, it could have gone against the Bears if they wouldn't have blown the whistle, as maybe they call it a fumble and the Eagles recover it and the Bears don't get any points instead of getting the opportunity back. But it was a really nice throw, and it was almost a really nice catch.
It was. That was a very frustrating moment.
And the funny thing is people are talking awfully about Mitch Trubisky, but at halftime, Mitch Trubisky had a 68 quarterback rating, but Nick Foles had a 51 quarterback rating.
I mean, the Bears defense, here's the frustrating thing. For 90% of the game, they did their job. It was just 2 drives they didn't, and because of everything else that had gone wrong in the game, that ended up being costly.
I'm actually hearing people say it was the defense's fault because they gave up that touchdown on 4th and 1. They stopped them 3 times, and it was barely that they got the touchdown. I don't know what else you expect against the reigning Super Bowl champions and when they have 1st and goal from like the 1-yard line.
It's hard to believe it took them 4 downs to get into the end zone. Now,
where I'm frustrated on that drive is how they got to that point. But once they were there, the Bears stood tall.
They did.
If the score wasn't what the score was, they probably just kick a field goal there, and you call that a huge victory. but they went for it on fourth and they got it.
Now, I think what was really frustrating about that game-winning drive by the Eagles, Pat O'Donnell was punting very well through most of the game, but that last punt, you knew it was going to be trouble.
Pat O'Donnell has not had a good season.
As a whole, no.
And in fact, his Bears career, which is his entire NFL career, has been, I would say, a disappointment, because when your nickname is Mega Kick and you came in with a lot of hype, and he's been meh. He's been the definition of a meh punter. And I really would be shocked if he's a Bear next year. I would be really shocked, to be honest.
Yeah, I mean, that's a whole other conversation, but yeah, it's that was all just set up for trouble against the Bears.
Yeah, it was just frustrating. You just wish on some level that they would have dialed up, some sort of exotic blitz to catch Nick Foles and, stop that drive. But, if you give up 16 points at home, you expect to win the game. And it was really funny is looking at a lot of Eagles fans, and they were predicting Eagles were going to win 35-10 or things like that. I'm like, the Eagles don't score on the road. The most points they've scored on the road this season is 24. If you think you're going to go to Los Angeles against the Rams and score 24 and win, you're probably pretty sorely mistaken. And if you expect to go to the Saints and score 24 and win, you're really sorely mistaken, because that team is going to drop 40 points on you.
Yeah. That's what makes this more frustrating than it already is.
I mean, the only solace we can take is this. We were playing on with house money this year. Nobody expected the Bears to go to do what they did. I thought I was being optimistic when I said 8-8.
Right. I mean, that's where I had them. I had them 8-8, and they finished 12-4, and it was a great ride throughout the regular season, and I think it showed a lot of promise for the future. But when it ends like that, a lot of the goods just kind of go away, at least for now. I think as time goes on, we'll realize more of what we have. But for right now, it's tough.
Yeah, the only solace I can take is that just like 6 weeks ago, the Eagles played the New Orleans Saints and lost 48-7.
Well,
so hopefully we get another ass whooping like that, because I'm just tired of their dumb smug faces. Like Jason Peters walking up to Cody Parkey and saying thank you.
Yeah, what?
Like, that's just low.
Yeah, come on.
That's just low and disrespectful.
It is. If the New Orleans Saints just steamroll their way to the playoffs, to the Super Bowl, just absolutely steamroll, at least I could say there was a clear-cut best team. That would maybe make me feel a little bit better. Not really, but maybe a little bit.
Yeah, because, the Bears, if they had won, would have gone to the Rams. They wouldn't have gone to New Orleans directly.
Right.
And that would have been a real tough game. But I think the Bears could have won it. It's the game that was worrisome is going to New Orleans and beating the Saints in the Superdome. And I think the Bears would have slowed them down, but the Bears offense would have needed to kick it in, because I think they would have needed to at least score 30 to win that game. And on the road in a dome, I think that would have been hard. I realistically thought the Bears were going to go to the Super Bowl, but that would have been a real tough
Oh,
test.
absolutely.
A real tough
Absolutely.
test. So yeah. But I mean, going forward, I don't know what this team does to improve. I think it's not getting better players. It's just everybody taking that next step forward, that continuing that trajectory.
Yeah, you have a year of experience under your belt. You've probably learned a lot of things for both coaches and players. So that's probably the biggest improvement, which is pretty valuable. So
And
look at it that way.
I heard Olin Grutz talking about it, and he said that amount of playoff experience is just playing in this game is going to be so valuable to the young players. And, it's really hard to win the playoffs, and especially without any playoff experience. So, hopefully this is something where they get a taste of it, and not just the players, but Matt Nagy himself is, all right, I got outcoached and I need to get better. And Mitch Trubisky feels what the intensity is like in a playoff game and how much tighter and tougher it is to get yards, and how the wide receivers and the catches are more contested. And you just learn from that. You learn from that, and hopefully that makes you better and more prepared for the season next year and the playoffs next year.
Absolutely.
It's just still painful.
It is. It still hurts. It really does.
I honestly, I'm right there with you. I am not going to watch any NFL this coming weekend. I'll check the scores, and I might check out the conference championships, but I probably won't even watch the whole Super Bowl, to be honest with you, unless it's a really intriguing matchup. But if we get the Patriots in there, I'm probably not watching.
I mean, I usually have a Super Bowl party every year, but I don't know if I'm going to have it this year. And, maybe I'll either get invited somewhere and I'll just drink and eat food, or I won't do anything, or maybe I'll go to a bar somewhere and also drink and eat food. And, that's where I was last night. I was watching the Bears game with a friend at our local watering hole. We had a pitcher of Miller Lite and a giant plate of fully loaded nachos. And we pretty much drowned ourselves out with all of that.
Yeah, I could see myself watching the Super Bowl, sitting in a dark room in a corner on the floor with a giant bag of Cool Ranch Doritos, just sobbing into them.
I hear you.
This could win us. Cool Ranch isn't even a very good flavor, but I'm going to eat them anyway.
Got it. If you're resorting to Cool Ranch, I'm sorry.
It's one of those. Cool Ranch is the flavor you're like, it's not a good flavor, but it's better than like sour cream and
some
onion
of those
whatever.
Dorito flavors are weird. Just give me the spicy nacho all day, every day.
Thank you. Spicy nacho is the flavor.
Yep.
It is the one.
Damn right.
Yeah, that is. I could house some spicy nacho Doritos. Like if you go to a party and there's a bowl of spicy nacho Doritos, I'm probably not talking to anybody. I'm just gonna stand there and eat chips until the whole thing is gone. And I have so much cheese on my fingers that I can't touch anything until I'm opening bathroom doors with my elbows.
Yeah, that's right on. I'm glad other people see it that way.
Yeah, but it'll be so sad that I can't eat a good flavor of Dorito because it might spoil the good flavor of Dorito. So I'll eat the subpar flavor of Dorito that nobody really likes. But if you're at Subway and you're like, oh man, everyone got the good flavors of Doritos. That's all left is Cool Ranch. I want those rather than Sun Chips. So I'll eat the Cool Ranch.
Yes.
Did I offend
At
you with
least
the
we
sun
agree
chips?
on the Doritos, but
Okay, well, it depends on
garden
the flavor
salsa.
of
How
sun
can you
chip.
not go wrong with garden salsa?
I don't like the garden salsa. I like the cheddar one.
Do you at least like original? Please at least tell me you like original. God!
No, they're original. That's it. Done. Out.
Yeah, after 100 some shows, your Sun Chips takes are just garbage.
You know what,
Who
though?
the hell chooses cheddar over garden salsa?
At least it's not Pringles.
What? Did you just insult Pringles?
Depends on the flavor.
All right.
And-
what are your
And
favorite flavors?
And I'm gonna go with that. I hate the canister for Pringles because my hands don't fit in there. I
Okay,
have to
yes.
pour it out, and I don't want to pour it out. I want to reach into it to pull it out, and I can't reach my hand in there.
I'll agree those canisters can be a pain in the ass. Now, with that being said, please give me your flavor takes so I can judge you. I'm Pringles
And-
only.
Wait, hold on. And first is if I'm going to eat Pringles, I cannot eat a single Pringle because they're too thin. I need to eat like 3 of them stacked on top of each other. So
Ditto.
I actually get like a solid, actual chip.
Yeah, no, I hear that. I hear that.
Have you ever looked up? There's a list of the Pringles flavors from around the world. There's like 100 different Pringles flavors.
Let's see. Pringles flavors around the world.
There are some really gross ones.
Oh, I'm sure there
Like-
are.
No, like make you want to vomit.
Okay, I'm just gonna throw it out right now. My favorite flavors are
Jalapeno.
yes,
That's a good one.
the cheese, love that.
The salt and vinegar one is disgusting.
Yeah, I don't like that one either. I love
Um,
sour cream and onion.
Screamin' dill pickle.
What?
I like that one.
Never had it. And honestly, I just like good old original. And the barbecue.
Yeah, I do like the original. Their barbecues. I don't know. I guess I'm not the biggest barbecue chip fan. So
Barbecue chips can be hit or miss. There used to be the old Ruffles Masterpiece. Those are heaven.
yeah, I had baked chips, barbecue chips today, and they were terrible.
Baked chips
They're
are
like
just
the
not
layered
good.
baked. No, I just stopped forcing those on me. It's like you probably don't remember because you were probably too young, but there was a while that they had the Olestra chips, where they were made with Olestra, which is like it makes the fat in it not absorb, and so it gives you like oily poops because you just poop it out. And I was like, why in the world would I do that? I'm eating chips knowing that they're terrible for me. I'm not trying to eat healthy chips.
Okay, I'm looking up the bags now. They had the big wow on them. I can't
Yes.
say I do remember those. I remember when my school had the health revolution and they got the baked chips and people were pretty pissed because nobody wants to eat cardboard chips. Just give me my regular old Doritos. Give me my regular old Ruffles, J's, whatever. Don't give me that baked crap.
Yeah, and there was a time there was a diet pill, and this was not that long ago. This would have been in like 2008, 2009, and it was made with the same stuff that was in those Wow chips, and it just made your body not absorb the fat.
Yeah.
And it warned you, it was like, don't eat fatty foods because basically you're going to have anal leakage and your bed is going to look like the horsehead scene from The Godfather.
Oh, that is disgusting.
'Cause if you
Oh. So sick.
And just like that, we lost every listener.
Oh, that is just fucking gross.
So did you look up that list of Pringles flavors? If not,
Yeah, I'm looking at.
there's blueberry and hazelnut.
Ew. Is this on Pringles.com? Because I have a list on. Okay, this is favorites, wavy, lighter side on the
No,
go.
that's
I'm not seeing like.
so yeah. This is ones that were it's like another site, but it lists the ones from around the world. There's
What site is it? Is it delish.com?
no, that's nifty.blogspot.com, but there's actually a picture.
Okay, I got it up.
Yeah. Bangkok grilled chicken wing.
Beef kebab.
This one sounds delicious. Cheese carnival.
What do they mean by cheese carnival? Like
I don't know.
like different kinds
But
of cheeses?
I hope so. Cinnamon sweet potato.
Cinnamon sweet potato. There's one cheesums. Those were the bomb. I remember eating cheesums as a kid. Those were good. Cheesy fries, that sounds interesting. Cheeseburger, like I love cheeseburger, but cheeseburger flavored stuff is never good.
The one that's really scary to me is everything's in not English, except it says fun picnic. I don't know what fun picnic flavor is, and that could either be something delicious or it could be like bees and ants in potato salad.
Ew. Well, I see a picture of cheese fries on it, so if it tastes like cheese fries, that could be good.
Garlic seafood.
Curry.
Hot and spicy wonton.
Now, this actually sounds pretty good. Crushed pepper, because I've had like crushed black pepper kettle chips, and those are the bomb.
Mayo potato.
I assume that's like baked potato. Or, well, no, not mayo. That's sour cream. What the hell? Mozzarella sticks.
Old American Circus funky mustard.
Was it just mustard flavored chips?
I don't know. Onion blossom. I think I could be down with that.
Sure, yeah. Soft shelled crab.
Prawn cocktail.
Thai sweet chili and lemongrass. Wild.
Smoked salami.
I'd be tempted to try that one. If it's got a little smoky flavor to it, that might not be so bad.
What about the Szechuan barbecue rice crisps?
That just sounds weird.
The tiger prawn and crushed garlic.
Delicious.
Now here is one I think we can be down with. Zesty queso.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Now that should be a flavor like in every store because who doesn't like
that should be a Doritos
zesty
flavor.
Queso? That should be in every chip.
Jay's, Lay's, Doritos, Pringles.
Yeah, there should be a Cheeto that's zesty queso.
Yeah.
But you're right, Dorito would probably win.
Think about all the popular queso dips that are out there these days. I mean, look at Tostitos queso dip alone is really good, especially if you get like the medium kind, because the medium kind is that right amount of spice. You get it spicy, but it's not overwhelmingly spicy. And that goes great with like donkey chips or Tostitos chips or even like pretzels. Whoa. You have never had donkey chips? Oh my God.
What a donkey chip is.
Yes.
Am I missing out?
Go to Jewel. Buy yourself some donkey chips. They're tortilla chips, like nachos and all that. And they got a big smiling cartoon donkey, and they're just donkey chips. Go buy yourself some donkey chips. Uh-huh.
All right, I have a question for you. Is this gluttonous? If I were to get a bag of spicy nacho Doritos and then dip them into queso,
Spicy nacho Doritos dipped in queso.
is that gluttonous?
No,
Okay.
I don't think.
Because I'm pregnant, but I'm after all this chip talk and queso talk, I'm really just wanting to go to the store and dip nachos or Doritos into queso dip.
You know what I would recommend if you did that? I would recommend warming up the queso dip so it's nice and hot for that
I
kind
thought
of
you were
thing.
going to say stretchy pants
No.
because I don't want to be wearing constricting pants while I'm trying to eat that.
Yeah, no. God, no. I mean, get the queso, warm it up nice and hot, like you would eat nacho cheese at a ball game, and you dip your spicy nacho into that.
You've seen the movie Step Brothers, right?
Yes.
I just watched it the other day, and I never remembered one of the opening scenes is when Will Ferrell's character is making nachos by just putting bland tortilla chips with shredded cheddar cheese on it into the microwave. And I was like, that might be the saddest part of the whole movie because those are going to be the worst nachos ever.
Yeah. You know what?
They're going to be like the microwave melted cheese.
Listen, I worked in concessions for 2 years over the summers, and the nacho cheese we used in those big, tubs that you basically put in a heater. Eek. I've seen some bad nachos, but you know what? You know what I really, really am a sucker for? Nachos from Wrigley Field or the United Center. There is something about that nacho cheese that just I love. And you put jalapenos on it, and you get the concession workers that are nice, and they dump some extra cheese on top of the chips as well as put it in the little cheese tray. There's something just I love about it.
If you put nachos in a helmet, they taste better somehow.
Oh, nacho helmets are one of the best things ever invented. Now, I've been to a White Sox game several times. One of them was a Cubs White Sox game, and I've gone with my Sox fan friend. And every time we go, we get Irish nachos. Have you ever had Irish nachos? Do you know what Irish nachos are?
I don't, but I imagine there's booze on it somehow.
No. Picture the toppings of fully loaded nachos, including bacon bits. Okay, so you got bacon bits. Let's see if I remember this correctly. You got bacon bits, sour cream, several kinds of melted cheese, green onion, some chive over it. Sounds like standard jalapenos. Sounds like standard nachos, right? So far.
Mm-hmm.
Now, instead of chips, they're waffle fries.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my god!
And they come in a helmet.
Waffle fries is proof that God exists. And
I know. You see, God designed waffle fries. He didn't design them just to eat them plain. He said, okay, these are special kind of fries that are meant to be part of something. Like Irish nachos, like cheese fries in a helmet. They were meant to be dipped, dunked, and just covered with stuff. And here it is, implemented as Irish nachos.
So right now it's 8:19 while we're recording this, and I'm just plotting out where to go in the Jewel to get all of the things to make these nachos immediately after recording.
Right on. That's the way to handle this. I mean, I got to tell you, my nerves were softened a little bit as I downloaded, as I downed those nachos those fully loaded nachos I had at the bar last night. I mean, that in the beer helped a little bit, and then I was sad afterwards. But you know what? Those nachos were good, dang it.
I think that's going to do it for this episode of Bill Swerski Sports Talk Chicago. Thanks everybody so much for listening. It's been a great Bear season until the very end, But I want to thank everybody so much for listening. Please check us out on social media at ShyFanPat1, at Swerski Sports, Facebook.com/Swerski Sports, SwerskiSports.com. Hit subscribe however you listen to podcasts, whether that's iTunes, Stitcher, YouTube, or the TuneIn app. Make sure you share with a friend because we will be back and we will be talking Cubs when they sign Bryce Harper. And we will be talking Bulls, Blackhawks, and more. But thank you guys so much for listening. But thanks so much for listening. And until next time, bear down.
Cubs win! What a lucky break! The good Lord wants the Cubs to win!
We thank Ditka and God for all they have provided.
Cubs win! Cubs win! Cubs win!
Oh, I don't want her. You can have her. She's a Packer fan. She can't fit in my van.
And she looks like Denver New Yorkers. Smoking crack is not legal on planes. Bears 31 to -7. The Bears. Oh, when the Bears go bearing down